There are moments in a livestream that seem completely ordinary while they are happening, only to become unforgettable once fans begin replaying them, analyzing every expression, every pause, and every carefully chosen word. That is exactly the kind of atmosphere surrounding Zhang once again, because during another livestream, the conversation about his upcoming work appeared to spark the same wave of curiosity that fans have been feeling for some time. There was no need for a dramatic announcement or an elaborate reveal. Sometimes, all it takes is a small hint, a subtle change in expression, or a moment where a celebrity seems to know much more than they are willing to say. And when that celebrity is Zhang, whose every professional move can quickly become a major topic among viewers, even the smallest suggestion about a future project can feel enormous. This time, the excitement was not simply about what he might be working on, but about the possibility that something much bigger could be approaching behind the scenes, something that has been carefully protected from the public until the right moment arrives. What makes the situation especially fascinating is the feeling of anticipation surrounding the project. Fans are naturally curious whenever an actor they admire begins hinting at something new, but curiosity becomes something much stronger when the details remain hidden. The unknown creates its own kind of emotional tension. Viewers begin wondering what kind of story could be waiting, what kind of character Zhang might portray, what kind of production could have captured his attention, and why the timing of these hints feels so significant. A simple mention of future work can suddenly become a mystery, because the audience knows that there may be information that cannot yet be revealed. In entertainment, silence can sometimes be more powerful than an announcement. When someone cannot say everything, people begin listening more carefully to what they can say. That is where the fascination begins, and that is why this latest livestream moment has once again placed Zhang under such intense attention. There is also something uniquely interesting about watching an actor discuss his career outside the polished environment of an official promotional event. A livestream can feel more immediate, more personal, and less carefully constructed. The atmosphere can be relaxed, spontaneous, and unpredictable, which means even a small reaction can attract attention. Fans are not simply watching a performer promoting a finished project. They are watching a person who may be carrying the excitement of something that has not yet reached the public. That difference matters. When Zhang appears to tease a major upcoming project, the mystery becomes part of the experience. Viewers are left trying to understand whether the words are casual, deliberate, playful, or carefully chosen because certain information is still confidential. The uncertainty itself becomes part of the story. And that is where the emotional side of this moment begins to emerge. Behind every major project is an actor preparing to step into another chapter of his career. Audiences often see the finished product, the photographs, the trailers, the performances, and the promotional appearances, but they rarely see the long period of uncertainty that comes before any of those things. There can be months of preparation, discussions, rehearsals, waiting, filming, changes, pressure, and countless decisions that remain invisible. So when an actor finally begins hinting that something important may be coming, fans naturally feel as though they are being allowed to glimpse a tiny part of a much larger journey. It is not the whole picture, but it is enough to make the imagination run wild. For Zhang, that anticipation carries another layer because every new role has the potential to reveal a different side of his abilities. An actor can become closely associated with certain characters, certain emotional tones, or certain genres, but the most exciting career moments often arrive when viewers are challenged to see that performer differently. A major project could mean a completely new character, a different emotional range, a more demanding production, or an opportunity to step into territory that audiences have not seen from him before. That possibility alone is enough to create enormous curiosity. What if the project allows him to show a side of himself that has remained hidden? What if the character is more complicated than anything he has played before? What if this becomes one of those roles that changes how people talk about his career? These are questions that cannot be answered simply by a tease, and that is precisely why the mystery remains so powerful. The moment does not necessarily provide certainty. Instead, it creates possibility. Fans begin connecting the dots, looking at the timing of his activities, thinking about the kinds of stories that might suit him, and imagining what the next major announcement could look like. Some possibilities may be accurate, others may be completely wrong, but the excitement comes from not knowing. The space between a hint and an official announcement becomes a place where thousands of theories can exist at once. There is another reason these moments become emotionally memorable, fans understand that an actor cannot always share everything immediately. Major entertainment projects often involve carefully managed announcements, production schedules, promotional strategies, and information that must remain private until the appropriate time. So when a celebrity gives even the smallest suggestion that something significant is happening, fans can interpret it as a sign of trust. Not necessarily because every detail is being revealed, but because the audience feels included in the journey. It creates a quiet connection between the performer and the people waiting for his next chapter. Imagine the atmosphere around that moment. Viewers are watching, listening, and suddenly the conversation moves toward future work. Perhaps the energy changes slightly. Perhaps curiosity rises immediately. People begin wondering whether this is another playful tease or something more meaningful. The project itself remains hidden, but the idea of it becomes impossible to ignore. That is the fascinating power of anticipation. The audience does not need to know everything to become emotionally invested. Sometimes knowing that something exists somewhere beyond the curtain is enough. And the longer the mystery continues, the more meaningful the eventual reveal could become. If Zhang Ling is indeed preparing something that fans consider a major project, then every small hint along the way becomes part of the build-up. The live stream is no longer just a live stream. It becomes another piece of the timeline, another moment fans can look back on after the official announcement and say that perhaps the signs were already there. That is how entertainment mysteries grow. A tiny moment becomes a clue becomes a theory, and a theory becomes anticipation for the day when everything is finally confirmed. But perhaps the most compelling part is not even the project itself. It is what the project could represent for Zhang Ling personally as a performer. Every new role carries a certain risk. An actor must step into unfamiliar territory and trust that the audience will follow. Success is never guaranteed simply because a performer has already achieved popularity. Each new production asks a different question. Can this actor make us believe in another character? Can he make us forget the roles we have already seen? Can he create something emotionally powerful enough to remain with viewers after the story ends? Those are the challenges behind the excitement. That is why fans often react so strongly when Zhang Ling hints at something new. They are not merely waiting for another title. They are waiting for another transformation. They want to see the next character, the next emotional journey, the next moment when his performance creates something unexpected. The possibility of that transformation is what makes a mysterious project feel much larger than a simple entertainment announcement. At the same time, it is important to remember that a tease is still only a tease. Until official information is released, details about the project should remain possibilities rather than established facts. That uncertainty does not make the moment less exciting. In fact, it makes it more intriguing. The mystery gives fans room to imagine, but the truth will ultimately come from the official announcement. Until then, every theory remains just that, a theory. And perhaps that is exactly what makes this particular chapter so entertaining. There is a strange beauty in waiting. In an age where information appears instantly, where announcements are often followed by endless details within minutes, there is something captivating about a story that refuses to reveal everything at once. Zhang Ling appears to have offered another small glimpse toward what may be ahead, and that glimpse is enough to keep the conversation alive. The project remains behind the curtain, but the anticipation has already stepped into the spotlight. As fans continue discussing what the tease could mean, one thing becomes increasingly clear: the excitement surrounding Zhang Ling is not simply about one future project. It is about the feeling that another important chapter may be approaching. His career continues to move forward, and every new opportunity brings the possibility of growth, challenge, and transformation. Whether this mysterious project turns out to be exactly what fans imagine or something completely unexpected, the uncertainty itself has created a powerful sense of anticipation. Perhaps one day, when the official details are finally revealed, viewers will return to this livestream and hear the words differently. What once sounded like a small hint may suddenly feel like the beginning of a much larger story. The expressions that seemed casual may take on new meaning. The pauses may seem more deliberate. The mystery that once filled the conversation may finally have an answer. And that is the magic of these moments. They exist between what we know and what we are still waiting to discover. For now, the curtain remains partly closed. The project remains surrounded by questions, and the future remains unwritten. But somewhere beyond the speculation, There is a real production process, real preparation, real work, and an actor preparing to take on whatever challenge comes next. Zhang has already given fans a reason to look forward, and that alone can turn a simple livestream moment into something much bigger. The most exciting part may be that nobody outside the official circle truly knows how this story will unfold. It could be a role that surprises everyone. It could be a project that pushes him into a new genre. It could be a performance that reveals an entirely different emotional side of him. Or it could become something fans never expected at all. Until the official announcement arrives, every possibility remains open. And maybe that is why the tease feels so powerful. It does not give fans the destination. It gives them the feeling that the journey has already begun. Somewhere behind the scenes, something is moving forward. Somewhere, decisions are being made, scenes are being prepared, and a future character may already be taking shape. Zhang may not have revealed the full story yet, but the anticipation surrounding his next chapter is already alive. So the question now is no longer simply what the big project is. The bigger question is what this new chapter could mean for Zhang as an actor, and whether the role waiting for him will become another defining moment in his journey. The answer will come when the time is right. Until then, the mystery remains, the theories continue, and that small glimpse from the livestream keeps the door open to endless possibilities. Sometimes the most unforgettable stories do not begin with a grand announcement. Sometimes they begin quietly, with a few carefully guarded details and a sense that something important is coming. This may be one of those moments. The full picture has not appeared yet, but the anticipation is already here, and perhaps that is what makes waiting for Zhang next big project so exciting. Whatever eventually emerges from behind that curtain, fans will be watching closely, waiting for the moment when the mystery finally becomes reality.